And I'd like you all to welcome our special guest, Mrs. Brooks.
Welcome, Brooks.
Welcome, Miss Brooks.
Welcome, Mrs.
Welcome, Miss
Brooks.
Brooks. Welcome, Miss Brooks.
Hello,
Welcome.
Miss Brooks.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Welcome, Miss Brooks. I'm most interested in what you have to say.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Now, Ms. Brooks would like to hold her questions. When would you like your questions, Mrs. Brooks?
Yes, so I would like you to hold the questions until after I'm finished, and then I'll have a segment for questions. Okay?
Okay.
But you can raise your hands meanwhile, okay? They can raise their hands digitally. They will be doing so. So
Okay.
they'll raise their hands digitally, and that once the questions begin, we go sequentially by the raised hands.
Okay.
Okay. All right. It's all yours, Mrs. Brooks.
All right. Let me just, well, firstly, before I start sharing, let me say thank you for inviting me, Teresa. I'm very happy to be here and listening to you all interact. You know, you seem like a happy bunch of people, and that's really nice to see you all happy and smiling, and it makes me feel good as well. I feel like I need to be here too. It seems so interesting and fun. But this afternoon, actually, we'll be talking about diabetes reversal. Let me just share my screen. A second here. All right, here we go.
Talk about diabetes.
Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Just making sure. All right, so this afternoon we'll be talking about reversing diabetes. And you know, diabetes is a growing problem. Many persons have diabetes, and it's a condition where the blood sugar is too high, but you know, the body does not process sugar as it should, and so it stays in the blood, and it can create a lot of problems. So we're going to talk about how we can reverse that today. Now, before I begin, I just want to say that this program is for educational purposes only. It does not take the place of your doctor's advice. You're responsible for going to your doctor, for letting them work with you to manage your medications based on your particular set of symptoms. Now, before you adopt any of the principles presented here, please talk to your doctor. Tell them that you are working to change your lifestyle, to increase exercise, to make dietary changes, to reverse your diabetes, and get their approval. Changes in your activity level or diet may impact the medications you are taking. Keep your doctor informed of what you're doing, and do not stop taking your medicine without any doctor's permission, okay?
Okay.
Now, first, let's talk about the prevalence of diabetes. Now, it's the fastest growing chronic disease in human history. The World Health Organization has declared it a pandemic. That's because it's all over the world, and it affects 10.5% of the world's population, and is expected to increase by a third by 2045. And currently in the USA alone, 37.3 million people have diabetes. That's 11.3% of the population. 96 million people have prediabetes, and prediabetes is, well, not full diabetes, but just your blood sugar being a little higher than it should be. And it's called prediabetes, and 38% of the population have that. And the other thing about this is that a third of children who are born after 2002 will also have type 2 diabetes and are expected to die 20 years earlier. They're going to die before their parents, pretty much. So, I mean, that for me is a big that's a big wake-up call that we have to do something about the diabetes problem. Because, you know, as adults, when you make a difference in your diet, it may be able to impact your family member, your children, your grandchildren, and you set a habit that will live, you know, beyond you and passed on to your next generations to come, a healthy habit. Now, there are a couple types of diabetes. There's type 1 diabetes, which is usually onset in childhood. Something happens in the body that damages the immune system is not able to process the insulin. So that one is more, that's a problem with the body itself because it has a decreased ability to produce insulin. Type 2 diabetes is the one we'll be talking about today, and that represents 95% of all diabetics, and it's also known as insulin resistant. The body produces insulin, but the cells resist to use that insulin. And so the body responds by producing more insulin to overcome that resistant problem. And then, it just gets worse and worse. Then we have gestational diabetes, which is similar to type 2 diabetes, except that it occurs during pregnancy. And 70% of women who have gestational diabetes will develop type 2 diabetes in the future. And there's also latent autoimmune diabetes of adults, which is called LADA as well. And it happens at late onset. It's like type 1 diabetes, which is an autoimmune diabetes of adulthood. It occurs very slowly in adults or the elderly. And it normally affects people who are slimmer, of slight build. So, even though, this can affect anybody, whether you're thin or whether you're heavy, and it is not insulin resistant. What happens is that the body just does not produce enough insulin. The body loses its ability to produce insulin as you get older. But of course, today we'll be talking about type 2 diabetes because that's the one we can definitely do something about. That's the one we can reverse, and that's the one that affects most adults, because as we said, it's affecting so much in the world, so much. 95% of individuals have type 2 diabetes. Now, there are some risk factors for type 2 diabetes. Firstly, if you have a family history, if your parents or your siblings have diabetes, type 2 diabetes, then chances are you might get it too. Giving birth to a baby who's 9 pounds or over is also a risk factor. It means that in the future you have the potential to develop diabetes because you had that large baby. There's also a lack of physical exercise. We have to keep moving. Gestational diabetes, as I said before, if you're over 45 years old, if you're overweight, and of course, race and ethnicity is a problem. African Americans tend to have the highest rate of diabetes. And of course, smoking is also a risk factor for type 2 diabetes. And of course, the symptoms. Now, the first symptom I'd like to say to you is that there might be no symptom. So many people can have diabetes for a long time without knowing that they actually have it. So you may not know that you have it unless you go to the doctor for a routine physical. It's very important that you do these routine screenings with your doctor because sometimes that's the only way that you'll find out when he does that blood test that you actually have diabetes. And of course, another symptom is fatigue. There's, of course, increased thirst and increased urination and blood sugar, which is higher than 199. Or a fasting blood sugar that's higher than 125, and the doctor would have to confirm that in 2 separate visits. So, I personally believe that sometimes the symptoms are there, but these diabetic symptoms can be easily masked. But, fatigue, lots of times we are tired, we're stressed, we're doing many things. So we could always pass these things off as, oh, I'm just tired, it's just the weather, different things we can say. So that's why it's very important to take note of your health and also do your physicals as often as you can, every year, as recommended by the doctors. Now, diabetes has lots of complications. And so there's heart disease. Of course, 80% of those with diabetes will develop heart disease. 68% of that 80% will die. You're 2 to 4 times more likely to have a stroke, 67% increased chance of hypertension. Then there's blindness or eye problems. Diabetes is a leading cause of kidney disease. And, kidney disease can be so debilitating because, you spend half the week doing treatment, getting dialysis, and it becomes, really hard on you when you have kidney disease on top of diabetes. There's complications of pregnancy if you should get pregnant. There's metabolic imbalances. Of course, the nervous system can get damaged where you have that tingling in the feet. And that leads to eventually you can have amputations of the toes and the legs. And there's mobility problems due to poor circulation. And of course, there's depression and possibly dental disease. So diabetes has a lot of other complications. Today, we are going to talk about how we can, stamp these complications aside. Now, firstly, you need to know your numbers. Your A1C, that's the blood test that doctors are using more in their offices at the hospitals. It checks the average of your blood sugar for the last 3 months. It's more accurate than, just a regular stick because it tells what's been going on with the blood sugar for the past 3 months. So it's considered to be normal if your A1C is less than or equal to 5.6. You're considered pre-diabetic if it's between 5.7 to 6.4. And of course, full-blown diabetes if it's 6.5 and over. So we want to keep it in the green, in the normal range, as far as possible from 5.6. And of course, if you're in a pre-diabetic state, that's the easiest time to reverse that. You could just change your lifestyle. But it's still not impossible if you already are having diabetes at the 6.5 plus level. It's very important when you do your blood work that you get back with the doctor and find out what your levels are and just know what you're working with so you can know that you need to take charge of your health. Now we're going to look at how insulin works. Now think of the cells in your body like a subdivision. This is like a neighborhood, a subdivision, a community. And to roads, think of the blood vessels as roadways. So these roadways are like the blood vessels, and they're carrying nutrients all over the subdivision, delivering it to the little houses, which would be the cells in our body. So the little houses are the cells in our bodies. And, there we zoom in on it. That's the little houses. Those are our cells. Oops. And there are thousands of those cells in the body. Each house has many doors. There's the garage door, the front door, the back door, many doors. But when the glucose is delivered to each house, it cannot get in because the doors are locked and it needs a key. So likewise, when that blood brings the glucose to the cells, the glucose cannot enter the cells to be used. It needs a key. And so that key is insulin. So insulin is the key that unlocks the door to the cell so the glucose can get inside and the cell could do what it's supposed to do with that glucose. When that glucose cannot get in, that's when the blood sugar becomes high and you develop diabetes. So in our normal metabolism, we eat our food right there, our blood sugar rises because that's what it's supposed to do. Insulin is released, it opens the doors to the cells, the sugar gets in the cells, blood sugar gets back to normal, sugar is used for energy, and the cycle continues. However, when there's insulin-resistant diabetes, the blood sugar rises, more insulin is needed to open more doors and to get the sugars in. So the cells become overfed. So there's too much sugar sometimes in the cell, or sometimes there's no sugar going in the cell. So excess sugar is stored. That excess sugar becomes like a fat-like substance, and it gums up the door locks, so the cells get locked off to the insulin. And so everything is just out of whack. It's not going right. And so the cycle continues, and that's how you have the diabetes occurring. So when there's insulin resistance, there are some symptoms that we can see going on in our bodies because it's not, things are going the way it should be. So our bodies are amazing. It alerts that something is wrong, get this checked. So that's where you have upper abdominal obesity, where you have we notice our stomachs getting larger or waist getting bigger waistlines. There's fatigue. There's migrating aches and pains all over our bodies. There's a sugar craving. There's an inability to lose weight. Though you're trying, you're not losing that weight. There's hormone imbalance. There's high cholesterol, low thyroid functioning, constantly hungry. There's high blood pressure. There's polycystic ovarian syndrome and increased fat storage. And all of that attributes to just because there's insulin resistance going on in the body. So how do we get started with diabetes reversal? Now, the first thing is to talk with your doctor. Never do anything without saying, doc, I see my blood sugar is high. I know I have diabetes. I see here, I'm going to do something. I'm going to change my lifestyle, and I'm going to eat better. I'm going to exercise, whatever it is you're going to do. Let your doctor know that he can monitor you as you go along the way, check your blood sugar, maybe a little more often, know that he should maybe lower your medicines if needs be, but let him in on the loop. So steps to reverse diabetes. Today, we're going to be talking about weight loss, exercise, diet, and water. And all these things are important to help with reversing diabetes. Okay, so first we'll talk about weight loss. It's imperative for diabetes reversal. The less weight you have, is the better your body will be able to utilize insulin. In pre-diabetes, losing 2 pounds of weight lowers your risk of going into full-blown diabetes by 11 to 12%. And if you lose 10 pounds in that pre-diabetic stage, your weight loss lowers the risk by 60%. And if you're over 65, then that becomes 70% lower risk if you lose 10 pounds. So weight loss is very important. The average diabetic should lose 17% of body weight if they're overweight. So for example, a 200-pound individual would be best if they lost 34 pounds. That weight loss doesn't happen overnight. I know we see a lot of fad diets, we lose 10 pounds in 1 week, it might seem effective, but it's not necessarily lasting. It can be dangerous to your health to lose weight in such a rapid time. It's best to lose an average of 1 to 2 pounds per week. So make smart goals to say, okay, don't say I'm going to lose 10 pounds by next week, and then you'll be disappointed you go on the scale. It's about losing 1 or 2 pounds per week. So when you check that scale in a week from today, it's 1 or 2 pounds less, you rejoice, you celebrate because you made that goal. You were successful in that goal and you lost 2 pounds. Now, of course, you're wondering, how am I going to lose this weight? So the other steps will help to lose the weight. For example, exercise. The American Diabetes Association recommends 30 minutes of moderate to vigorous intensity aerobic exercises daily for 5 days a week for older adults with diabetes. So it's really 150 minutes a week, but you break that up into 30 minutes per day at least. And, you just have 30 minutes, and that could be walking, swimming, cycling, chair yoga. Just make it be something fun. Don't see it as a chore. Don't see it as, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to exercise and I have to walk. No. Just think of it as something fun. If there's something you like, if you enjoy swimming, then swim. If you enjoy cycling, then cycle. If you enjoy walking, get a friend and walk with in the park or I like to take scenic walks. I like to see some places new and just walk and admire nature, observe nature. Make it be that too. Something interesting that you will want to do, that it doesn't seem boring or seem like a chore. And also, 20 minutes of exercise after a meal will help to reduce blood sugar and insulin spikes. So a little walk after eating a meal is good for you. And then there's our diet. Now, high fiber is very important for diabetes reversal. We need to eat at least 50 grams of fiber each day. The average American eats only 16 grams of fiber. And fiber is found in all our fruits, in most fruits, vegetables, whole grains. So choose, instead of having white rice, choose brown rice. Instead of having the white potatoes, eat a sweet potato, as that has more fiber. If possible, eat the skin of the fruit, if possible. It might not be possible because different people have different other medical conditions. They might not be able to eat the skin, but if that's possible, eat the skin as well. And that's where you'll get the additional fiber. So choose brown over white. So choose whole wheat flour over white flour. Brown rice over white rice. And that's your whole grains right there. Oats, things that are made with oats are good as well. So soluble fiber makes a gel in the intestine that slows sugar absorption after a meal. That means your blood sugar will not spike too high after a meal. Also, because of all that fiber, you feel full quicker. So you eat less because it's more filling. So you eat much less because, the white flour, the processed food, seems like you can't get enough of it. There's nothing in it to fill your belly, to make you feel good, fill your stomach. So you're still hungry. So you just eat more, but not so with the high fiber foods. You can only eat just a little because it's already filling. Now eat every color of the rainbow. You know the colors of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. Eat all the colors. So every food has a different color, if you notice, and every color means that there's a different nutrient, there's a different nutrient coming to the body from each color. So try to eat at least five different colors of fruits and vegetables each day. Your green leafies, your yellow squashes, red apples, blueberries, purple eggplants. Think of the colors and just fill your plate with all that color, and you will definitely be going on the right step there. And make sure try to make your foods low calorie. Low calorie meaning that you, instead of frying oil adds more calories to that food, and more calories means more energy getting into the body, meaning more, potential to gain weight and increase your risk of diabetes. So make your calories low as possible by using little or no oil when preparing foods. Try to, read your labels to make sure that there's not a high fat content, because sometimes things have hidden fats, like certain baked products in the supermarket, like biscuits and croissants and cakes. You can't see the oil, but it is there. So be mindful of those things. And make sure you're eating something fresh, meaning not everything has to be cooked. Eat uncooked vegetables as much as possible. If you must cook them, don't cook them for too long a time, because of course you kill a lot of the nutrients. So make sure on your plate there's a raw vegetable every time, because by cooking we lose some nutrients, and the heat kills some nutrients and the extra handling. So that's why it's good to eat something uncooked and fresh on your plate. And of course, I did not mention high nutrients. Eat foods of high nutrient value. So what do I mean by that? Low nutrient foods are foods that are usually refined foods. And high nutrient foods are typically fresh, colorful vegetables and fruits. And so remember to just substitute, for example, instead of eating potatoes, for example, potato chips versus the potato. The potato is low in is higher in nutrient than the actual potato chip. The potato chip is just like what you call empty calories. There's not much of anything left in it. So choose whole over processed. If it's in a box, if you can avoid eating something that's already made in a bag or box, then try to avoid those and take it fresh from the soil or the supermarket or wherever you get it from. And so here's a diabetic plate. So you're gonna start with a 9-inch, a regular 9-inch dinner plate. Half of that plate, if you notice, half should be filled with non-starchy vegetables. And non-starchy vegetables are green leafy vegetables, green beans, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, carrots. Those are non-starchy vegetables. So half your plate should have those. So you could have a nice large salad, or you may want to have maybe half of it some salad, and maybe the other parts here some steamed broccoli and cauliflower, but make half of that plate be non-starchy vegetables. Then the other 1/4 should have a lean protein. Lean protein meaning like chicken or turkey, and preferably the white meat part, the breast, has less fat than the legs and the thighs. Oh, sorry, I was pointing to here. So your lean protein are chicken, turkey, beans are high sources of protein, tofu or eggs. So you've put that in 1/4 of the plate, your lean protein foods. Lean meaning is lean of fat. And make sure, try to avoid frying them, baking or broiling. Your meat is a better option. And then in the final 1/4 of the plate, you'll have your carb food. And your carb food will include grains like bread, and whole wheat bread is the option I would suggest. Potatoes, peas, rice, pasta. And if you're making pasta, choose the whole wheat type of pasta. A fruit is also considered a carb because it has sugar. So even though we said we're gonna eat the rainbow, try not to eat an excess of fruits, because fruits and vegetables are both healthy, but fruits have sugar, lots of sugar, whereby our non-starchy vegetables have little or no sugar. So we still need the nutrients from the fruits, but we don't need all the sugar. So try to limit to about 2 to 3 fruits per day. And when I say fruits, not the large type. So try to purchase the smaller bananas, or if it's a big banana, you cut that in half, eat half today and half tomorrow. Try to choose smaller fruits. If you're buying apples, choose the smaller apples or the smaller oranges. Try to avoid the large fruits, because that's too much sugar in one sitting to be consuming. So get a large fruit and share it with a friend. You eat half and give them a half, and you'll have the exact proper amount. Now, when you go out to a restaurant, that's where it becomes tricky. Some restaurants serve, I think even most restaurants serve too much food. So one trick you can do, I've done, is ask for that take-home plate at the same time the food comes. Immediately make a visual of this plate, this diabetic plate, and just remove some of the food, put it in that take-home box, put it aside, and eat just what's left on your plate. You can eat that food tomorrow, or if you lived in a community where there might be somebody might be homeless, or so, you could always give that's unused food, clean, untouched food. You could give it to somebody else, or you could share that, split your plate and share it with a friend if that restaurant allows it. But just try to be mindful of when eating out as well. And of course, you're going to choose water or a low-calorie drink, such as an unsweetened drink, to go with your meal. I always say water is the best, because the thing with juice is that it is so concentrated with sugar that you're having more sugar than the actual goodness of the fruit. So when you juice an orange, for instance, it's not much. If you were to juice an orange, it would be just a little amount of juice, maybe in the bottom of the cup here. So when you pour a glass of orange juice, that's really more than one orange. So it's best to eat the orange and have some water. It's more filling because I always say it's better to eat than to drink my food. So you eat your fruit, you drink some water, and you're full, as opposed to wasting it on a tall glass of juice, which, you know, it's too much fruit, too much sugar going in your system there. So here we're now on the water. So drink 8 to 10 ounce, drink 8 ounce glasses of water per day, which is about 3 liters per day. And if you are experiencing constipation, then it should be more. Bear in mind that thirst is often mistaken for hunger. So sometimes we're feeling hungry and we stand in front of the refrigerator or the pantry, but really our body's crying for water. We're actually thirsty, but we mistake it for hunger. So when you're feeling, if you know you just ate and you're still feeling hungry, try drinking some water. That might just hit the spot that you're looking for. And people who drink more water actually eat less because the water fills you up fills up, you know, so you actually end up needing less food. So, you know, try to drink throughout the day, keep yourself hydrated. So, only you can reverse your diabetes. Your doctor can only advise you to lose weight. He can advise you to eat less fat, get more exercise, but that advice does little good unless you do something about it. So ultimately the choice is up to you. You know, what are you going to do about your diabetes? And so at this time, I open up for any questions that you may have. Teresa maybe can help me to identify
I
the
will. I'm here.
hands.
I can do that. We'll start first with Ann Dennis. Go ahead and unmute Ann. Ask your question. Followed with Brenda. Okay, I see Brenda's ahead of her. Go ahead, Brenda, ask your question.
Okay, yes. Miss Brooks, now you were saying, well, on your slide it said to exercise 20 minutes after meals, and that helps with, I guess, lowering your levels. Well, does
Yeah,
that make a difference if, like, I'm doing testing glucose once a day in the morning? Will that help lower my levels on my glucose monitor?
oh well, I mean, well, I'm not sure there. I'm not a doctor there. Maybe you could ask the doctor about that. If you should exercise, but before you do your glucose testing.
Yeah.
That's a good question though. But I don't have any answer for that, but I'm sure the doctor will be able to help you with that answer.
Okay. Now I've been monitoring them in the mornings and they're all within range, but I'm just thinking since it said to exercise 20 minutes after me, I eat twice a day, and my last meal is like 7, 8 o'clock. So will that help? Well, that's my question. Will that help with lowering my glucose level in the mornings? But you
So
said
you're saying your last meal is at 7, 8 o'clock in the night. That's what you're saying? I'm just
yeah,
trying to understand. Okay, and you want to know if that will lower your blood glucose in the mornings?
right, in the morning.
Okay, well, so is your blood glucose high in the mornings when you wake up?
No, it's not. It's they're all within range. They're not high at all. They're all within range. So, since I started early June. So they're they're not high. So, but I mean, I'm gonna try this anyway, just doing the exercise after meal, after my meal in the evening. See if that will
I
make a
mean,
difference.
maybe that would help, but of course, if you notice any drop, any significant drop that you're weak or dizzy, then you're not supposed to try that again.
Right.
Been indicated that that's not a good choice for you. Everybody's different, so
Yeah.
what works for you is best.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Miss Brooks.
And thank you, Brenda. We'll go with Geraldine now. Go ahead, Geraldine.
Hi. Yeah, hi. Thank you, Ms. Brooks, for your presentation.
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
On one of the slides, it said that diabetics have a harder time losing weight, but yet the diabetic has to lose weight. I wonder, I wonder how we can make sense of both of those, it being the opposite. They have a harder time losing weight, but we just have to lose it.
True. And but what I say to that is that you should just keep doing the right thing.
Right.
Weight loss doesn't happen overnight. So though there are fads out there that do offer it, they say try this, but a diabetic, I would not advise a diabetic to try some of those fads they have out there, drink this or eat that to lose weight in 1 week. But it does take a period of time to lose that weight. And so just keep doing the right thing. Keep doing your exercise, keep doing your following the proper diet measures. And whatever medicine the doctor gives you, you still keep taking your medicine. And the weight loss might come. It might come eventually. It won't be overnight. I can't promise it will come, but I say if you do the right thing, you just keep at it, then I'm sure you should see some kind of results. But even if you don't, the most important thing is that your A1C is low and is in low limits, and that you're feeling healthy. So I would choose feeling healthy and being healthy over just keeping an eye on that scale, driving yourself crazy. But it is important to lose weight. I agree. But I believe though that if you try all of these things, eating mostly vegetables, doing that 30-minute exercise daily, and I think that you should be able to lose a few pounds. And even a few pounds, as you see in the slide, makes a big difference to what your A1C. You might not come thin like a runway model now, but even losing a few pounds will definitely help the sugar levels to go down.
Okay, thank you. So we have to look at it for the long haul, not the short, just the short term, just the long haul, and we'll eventually get healthier.
Yes.
Thank you, Geraldine.
Okay, thank you.
Anne, are you available? And
Yes,
then-
I am.
Go ahead, Anne.
I wanted to ask you, I'm sorry, I can't remember your name. I've had a very crazy day today, so please forgive me. I'm trying to get off the metformin. And have you seen any results or anything about metformin? Because I've been reading a lot of stuff about it, and it seems that it damages parts of your body when it's supposed to be helping you. And I know there's certain things that I can't eat, can't, like the skin of the fruit and vegetables, because it gives me acid reflux. And it never used to do that before, but I've noticed that. So I really like my fruit, but I have to not eat the best part of it.
Okay, so you can eat some fruit though, right? Just not the skin?
Yeah, you like grapes and cherries and that kind of stuff, but the apple and the pears does not work anymore.
Yeah, well, eat the ones that do work, I would say. And in terms of the metformin, I have not done any research on metformin per se. But I would say that many medicines do cause some other problems, even though they're supposed to be helping. That's a side effect. You hear those side effects may cause this, that, and even death, all kinds of things. So I'm sure metformin might not be any different. But what I do know is that I'm sure your doctor should be monitoring you. You do regular blood tests to see certain functions of your body to make sure that your everything is okay. But I mean, I haven't done any research personally on metformin. So you could speak to your doctor about that. Maybe you could ask him to change it to another one if necessary, if possible, and see what happens there.
Well, I have lost a lot of weight when I changed my diet. You know, I used to drink sodas at work, and I stopped doing that. I drink more. I drink a lot of water, and I keep my kidneys and bladder flushed.
Good.
I'm eating a lot of grains and stuff. I have changed. I've lost a lot of weight, and I have changed. So basically, what you're saying, I was interested to know that I was doing what because I kind of made this up myself because the dietitian was telling me stuff, and she was telling me to eat stuff that I could not eat. That I'm for some reason in my old age I have become not welcoming to it in my body. So that has upset me because I can't eat like eggplant and squash like I used to. So
Right. So, well, eat the ones you can eat, and eat them in the right proportions, and prepare them in a healthy way. And you said you lost some weight. I think you're doing a good job so far, and just keep doing what you're doing. Okay.
yes, and thank you very much for coming on and talking to us because sometimes you just need another perspective.
Okay. Well,
and
you're
and,
welcome.
and I appreciate you coming. I really do. I'm so enthralled with you. Then thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you, Ann. Our next person is Jeanette. Go ahead, Jeanette Martin.
Good afternoon. And I've listened to you and I'm very impressed, but I'm a little disappointed as well because I've done everything that you said and I've done everything that my doctor said. And I find so amazing that nobody has said anything about the belly fat that does not respond to exercise, yada, 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 yada. That's not my point. My question is, 90% of the food that we eat is garbage. Who do we talk to take some? If we could get some of the sugar that is added to our food, then maybe we wouldn't be set up for diabetes. There is sugar in everything. What do we do? Who do we talk to demand food that's only good for us, that's edible? Because you have sugar in mustard. What's that about? I mean, is there any way that we as a community can talk to Food and Drug Administration or whoever the people are that are setting these guidelines that think we need 14 teaspoons of sugar in a soda, and most of us don't drink sodas anymore anyway? Is there anyone we can talk to?
I don't know who we can talk to, because that's a big problem in America. These packaged foods, these processed foods. The only thing I can say is that for now is there was a time when there was, way back in the day, there's no packaged foods, there's no processed foods, and people were healthier. So I believe that maybe if we as consumers voted by not purchasing a lot of these things, then maybe they would either, adjust the taste or remove them from the shelves or something. But as long as we continue to purchase them and enjoy them and they're making a profit, then, I mean, it's still going to happen. There are like 40 something of us on this line today. Unfortunately, I don't know if each of us stopped, I don't know if it will make even a difference, because it's such a vast population out there and they're all enjoying it. But until we can get the message across, then that's the only way. But I hear your point though. There's sugar in everything. Even that's why I said it's important to read the labels and look for hidden sugars, hidden fats. And we didn't even talk about sodium. I wouldn't even go there, but look for that too, hidden sodium that's in these foods. And to make choices to eat it fresh instead. If you can make something yourself from scratch, or if you can avoid eating the processed form and you eat the unprocessed form instead, go to the fresh fruits, the fresh vegetables, and do it yourself. Instead of eating, let's take an example now. Well, that's more, but for example, maybe not a good example, but for example, instead of eating a package of boxed rice, that's probably has sugar in it too. You just buy the regular rice and make it from scratch, just cook it the conventional way. And then you can control how much sugar and how much fat you put in it. Other than, and eating street foods, as I call them street foods, like restaurants, cut back on those eating out, because then we'll know what we have in our food.
But even whole grain bread has sugar in it. And you did mention eating whole grain bread, and that has sugar. I mean, and I understand what you're saying, but it's still not fair to us. There is sugar in everything. There has got to be somebody that's regulating the food, what they call food in this country. And I'm just curious as to who would that be? The Food and Drug Administration?
I guess it would be them.
So y'all, we need to start a petition. We need some food, okay? They're trying to kill us. And that's all. Thank you so very much for your insight.
And
Okay.
thank you for your comment
You're
too. There. All right, we'll go with Karen Watson. Go ahead and unmute, Karen. And then we'll follow with Jacqueline Cook, if you can also unmute. Karen, unmute your device. There you go.
I was waiting for Karen. She's talking.
Go ahead, Jacqueline. Go ahead and take it.
Okay, here I am.
She's there.
There's Karen.
Okay. If you've had diabetes for like say 4 or 5 years, is it still possible to reverse the diabetes?
Yes, I believe it's still possible to do that. Though you may have had it for some time, if you change your principles, your lifestyle, it should be able, no, it might not be fully reversed. It might be that you used to take a higher dosage of medicine, and now the doctor has to, lower the amount. That's something to celebrate as well,
Okay.
So it might not fully be gone, but at least you can minimize it. And just minimizing that diabetes is also important too.
I've lost
And
some weight. I used to be like 214 and 246. I'm now down to 206.
okay, congratulations.
And so I'm drinking more water. And I'm very happy to hear about what foods need to be eaten.
Right.
So I'm going to start eating more vegetables and try to eat the protein. I like fruits, but like you said, they have sugar of their own. And I love grapes and oranges and stuff like that. But I was unaware of the sugar content that they have. But they have a lot of sugar. So I'm going to start changing my diet.
And as you say that,
and exercising.
okay, that's good. Now there's some fruits that have even more sugar than others, like mangoes have a lot of sugar, and pineapple, so they're if you could avoid those altogether, that might be a good idea. As a person with diabetes, and
I'm gonna
I
put
also
more beans into my diet. I think
yes,
I'll put more beans into my diet.
beans are definitely wonderful. They're high in fiber and protein. And another thing I should have said is that diabetes reversal is not permanent. Like, it's not a quick fix. It's not like, oh, my A1C is down to normal, I'm good to go now. No, it's a lifestyle that you have to adapt and permanently change. So once you drop the ball and say, oh, I'm no longer diabetic, I'm fine now, and you start drinking sodas and ice cream and, you know, cake and all, it's gonna come right.
I drink the Minute Maid zero sugar.
Mhm.
They say it's zero sugar. Some things say zero sugar, and so those are the drinks. But I drink water too. Need to be
Okay.
drinking more water. I bought this jug that said it has the time on there, and you drink down to the time, and the time goes down, and at nighttime you should have drinking all you need to drink. So I need to bring that. But the only thing about that is water goes through you. Every time you drink the water, you gotta go to the bathroom. Yeah, and you live in the bathroom. If you drink the water, one time for nothing else, just drink the water and go to the bathroom. Yeah, because it runs through me. I don't know about anybody else. That water is your job. It should cleanse your kidneys and everything else.
Yes. It's flushing out all impurities.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here, sharing.
Okay, you're welcome.
We appreciate it. And so
Thank you.
I'm very glad that you shared today.
Jacqueline, go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, Miss Stacy. My name is
Afternoon.
Jackie Cook, and this past first 6 months of this year, I have been going to my eye doctor, and every time I go, he asks me, "Am I diabetic?" And I keep telling him no. And the question comes up every time I go see him. But then when I went to see him for one thing, a sty on my eye, and then he did some tests and he found out that I had glaucoma. And I was wondering, is diabetes is glaucoma a result of diabetes? Because I went to my primary care physician and he said all my blood tests and everything were within normal range. Now I'm trying to understand what is the eye doctor saying, and diagnosed me with glaucoma, a mild case, which he's treating me with laser treatments. You know, am I somewhere in a pre-diabetic stage or diabetic that brought on the glaucoma? I'm so very confused.
So firstly, did you do a diabetes blood test with your doctor recently?
Yes, the doctor, because I had blood tests done before I had the treatments for glaucoma. And he said, my primary care physician said I was not diabetic.
Okay. Oh, okay. And did he tell you the numbers, like what it was?
I totally forgot, but I do have a record of them. But
I don't know what causes your glaucoma. Diabetes can increase the risk of glaucoma, but the glaucoma is not necessarily the result of diabetes, you know?
Okay.
People with glaucoma don't have diabetes, but the diabetes can increase the risk, but it doesn't mean that you have one, you have the other. You know, so if the doctor said you didn't have diabetes, then I guess that wouldn't be the case for you then. It's probably just, just something that developed.
Yeah, well, he said glaucoma was hereditary. Then I started calling my cousins up, and sure enough, a few of them did have glaucoma, and I didn't know until I asked, and so I had to put my siblings on alert.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right. I thought it was some type of connection between diabetes and why this doctor was continually asking every time I go in, do you have diabetes? No, I tell him no. But okay, well, thank you.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Jacqueline. We'll go with Wilma.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay, I'm enjoying the session on diabetes, but I wanted to know about your A1C. My doctor said my A1C is 6.5, and she said it's good. The A1C was good, but then I noticed on here when you were talking about your A1, well, things that you eat and all. I'm trying to say, is 6.5 low enough, or should I go lower?
6.5 means that you have diabetes. So
Yeah, I do have it.
okay, so I guess that I mean, I'm not the doctor, but I'm thinking she might be saying, well, 6.5 is where the diabetes starts. Before that is pre-diabetes. So maybe the doctor is saying, well, you're at the lower end of the diabetic scale then, of having
Yeah.
diabetes.
Well,
But
she took me off of the medicine, so I don't take any medicines. I just monitor the way I eat.
okay, well, good. I mean, it's good to get it even lower than 6.5. It's
Okay.
good, below 5.7, 5.6 is normal. And then, up to 6 is pre-diabetic. So, I mean, it's
Okay.
good to get as low as possible. So if you can
Okay.
adopt these principles, diet and exercise, you should be able, hopefully you'll be able to bring it even lower than 6.5 and, impress her, and feel good for yourself too.
Okay. Sometimes when she gives us do a blood test, and it's early in the morning, if you eat before you go do that blood test, for your diabetes and all, that might show up. So I think I had eaten that morning, when I took it. So I'll work on getting it lower and getting more exercise in and eating better. Thank you.
I mean, I guess for that, that's good. But, if you want to be out of the diabetic phase, then it'd be good to get it lower, as low as possible.
Okay. All right.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Ms. Wilma. Now, as the clock ticks, we're getting closer to that end of our speaker's time. So I'd like you to limit your questions or limit your time per question so we can get everybody in, okay? So limit the time you spend with the speaker as far as. Okay, so we're going to go with Carmen. Go ahead, Carmen.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes. I find your presentation very informative because I have high blood pressure and I'm also diabetic. And when I first went into high blood pressure, I just went the whole 9 yards. I limit, and they, I eat a sodium-free diet, a low sodium diet. And my blood sugar usually runs between the mid 50s and the low hundreds. And I didn't even have to take insulin because I came across it. It started, I think I discovered I had it, I guess about a year or so ago.
Oh.
And I asked my doctor, I'm eating a low sodium diet. Why is this? Well, she said your age and your family history. And all thing you can use in place of sugar is is agave nectar. It's plant-based and it's low glycemic. Have you had an experience with that?
Yes, yes. Agave is natural. And yes, it's low glycemic as well. You're correct.
And you can use it for anything that you would normally use sugar for.
Yes, yeah, you can do that.
Because that's what I do. And my numbers, I get checked out, my numbers are always down.
Good. That's good news.
And another thing, I think it would be helpful if you could call those toll-free numbers on the products or send emails or write letters and let them know just what our needs are in terms of sodium and sugar.
Hmm. That's a good idea. I like that. Then they'll be hearing feedback from the consumers.
And so I call those manufacturers, email them, fax them, communicate them, and let them know what your needs are. We need less sodium. We need less sugar.
Jeanette, did you hear that? Jeanette Martin. Okay, thank you, Carmen. We'll go with Thelma.
Oh,
Yes.
And I'm going to ask you to limit your time so we can get everyone in before our
Oh,
speaker.
good evening. How you doing? I'm just calling. Well, I had been trying to start eating healthy when I was overweight in my 50s and all. And like you said, the biggest problem I had was what was better for me than, and what was faster, because by me working, I had to cook for myself, So, and I ran into the problem, I like the potatoes. I love sweet potatoes or white potatoes. And I was buying white potatoes frozen, the hash browns in a bag and the French fries and all like that. And I had seen something, I was online and I seen what a man said, what's the difference in fresh potato than frozen? And he cut the fresh potato in half like you regular quarters and all, and the potato sitting there was turning brown. But yet you can get, let's say, a quarter potatoes in the bag, already cut and everything, just ready to cook, and they white. They don't turn brown. Your French fries are white. They don't turn brown. Your hash brown is almost white, don't turn brown. And that's when he was saying the name of the chemical that they use on the potatoes to help stay white.
Okay.
I say, what? So, so I'm back to old fashioned, cutting my potatoes up ahead of time, putting them in a bowl of water. If I'm gonna cook them the next day, and like that. It's so many different things. So we just got to read more. We got to search, we all got this new tablet and we can ask who that Syria or Alexa, whoever she is, ask her, what's better for me, canned string beans or frozen string beans? And if it's frozen, which one is more like coming straight from the farm than coming from a factory, And then if you notice, we don't have but so many farmers no more. A lot of them gave up their farms and went to cities, working in factories, doing factory stuff. So that's a big problem too. And then the lady said that we got to do something about the food, talk to somebody. We just started our ward council. We talked to our ward councilmen about setting up a meeting about nutrition eating for everybody, the children, the seniors, everybody. And find a spot. And most of the time you do meetings like that, you have it, you hold them in your school, in your community school. If you're getting bigger, then you're down to district building, you testify. So it's easy to do. It can be done, because I know we did last time we did it for the lunches the children were eating in school. And we said, parents, we either come quicker to bring their lunch or they do something about the free lunch they was giving them. So they tried, they changed it. They changed it from better home cook to more like, I don't know, the children call it garbage, but it don't look like what they used to eat. That's what's wrong.
That's
So
true.
that's what I want to say, but if we don't stop and think and seek for ourselves with our health gonna fade away on us. We got to eat something. We got to eat something. Okay, thank you. That's all I want to say.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Thelma. We'll go with Jennifer Black. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Yes, I wanted to say that I am a diabetic and I have suffered most of the things that she spoke about. Eye disease, kidney disease, heart disease, amputations, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, but I'm still alive. And you can reverse your diabetes, because I have been able to get my A1C, which was in high double digits, down to 5.2. It's a juggling act. It's a juggling act. I had to lose more than 110 pounds or something like that, but it can be done. You just have to keep at it. And so there is hope. And I wanted to say that to the person who was having problems with this and that. It takes a little while and it's a little discipline, but it can be done. That's all I wanted to say.
All right, thank you for inspiring the rest of us.
Yep, thank you.
Hi, Brenda.
Adele.
Hi, this is Adele. Thank you for
Jenny.
accepting my question. I just want to ask the initials A1C, what does it stand for? And what is the range, the lowest range it should be?
Right, A1C. Well, first it is for the you know the blood carries the sugar, so it's about how much sugar is in the blood. You know, honestly, I never really looked what A1 and C was represented. I just took it for what it is, to tell the truth. But the values, I had showed it before. Let me share that. I'm going to share the screen again just to.
Yeah, I remember seeing it, but I never knew what the A1C stood for, the initials or what.
I'm actually looking it up online and it's not even showing that online.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's not showing the A, what the A stands for.
It doesn't really tell. It's just.
Yeah, it's not giving that.
The full name is HbA1c with HB's hemoglobin, but I'm not sure what the A1 and C stands for, but can you see?
The normal range, I see that.
Right, so the normal range is less than or equal to 5.6.
5.6.
And then you enter pre-diabetes stage at 5.7 to 6.4. And then you're considered diabetic if it's 6.5 and above. So 6.5 is the lowest level for diabetes.
I think the A1C stands for your average one count.
Sounds about
Yes.
right. Wow, let me look that up. Thank you, Denise.
Oh, thank you.
And it's a where am I? Oops.
I'm looking it up. Great.
Ooh. It's a simple test to measure over a 3-month period your sugar levels.
Yep, still not showing exactly that, but we can start with that.
Because it says up there, your A1C checks the average.
The
Yes.
average.
So it should be average.
It's like a fraction.
It's probably average one count, counts.
I mean, that sounds like it might be plausible because the A is for average, I guess. So it's more accurate than the finger prick, because the finger prick just tells what it is now, whereby the A1C, it gives what it has been over a period of time.
Yeah, your
count. Accurate.
Okay. Is that it, Adele?
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, then. Thank you.
I'd like everyone to say how grateful, how thankful we are for having Stacy online.
We are thankful, Miss Brooks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
We're
much.
grateful.
We are grateful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Good presentation.
Yes,
Yes.
very good.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was
Will
a
you
pleasure.
come back to see us?
Yes,
Yeah,
please
we
come
coming
again.
back.
Yeah.
Let's come back to another level of this series.
They were talking about diabetes.
Thank you so much.
I'm gonna get off from here and do
Thank
more.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Back to see us again.
Teresa,
I will.
I found out what it means.
Go ahead, Brenda, tell us.
The A1C, it says the word A1C is actually not an acronym. the full version of the word is HbA1c and stands for glycated hemoglobin. So
It's not an
it's
acronym. Yeah.
right. It's not acronym.
Yeah.
Hey,
Thank you, Brenda.
Sure.
Thank you, Brenda.
You're welcome.
Hey, Brenda.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, yes. And again, we thank Mrs. Brooks, and we'll see you
Thank
again
you.
sometime soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Miss Brooks.
Thank
Okay,
you.
guys.
Thank
So
you.
come to the end
All
of
right.
our
Bye, bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Tomorrow's Friday. What do we have scheduled for tomorrow? We've got pages in the morning. We're going to be creating that card for George's family. Okay?
Yes.
Movie tonight.
Okay.
The movie tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, the movie tonight. Yes, I've got
Yeah,
the
movie
right here.
tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah,
for
movie
reminding me.
tonight.
I've got the movie.
Oh, that's
right
right. The
here.
hidden.
Oh, I thought the movie was last night.
No,
it's
Thursday.
Hey, on
Thursday.
Thursday.
Oh,
Thursday. So Hidden Figures tonight at 6 p.m. And then
okay.
tomorrow we've got
What movie y'all talking about?
Hidden
we're showing
Figures.
Hidden
Hidden
Figures.
Figures tonight.
Oh, okay.
Tune in for
That's a
that
good
at 6
movie.
p.m.
I had incontinence when I leaked in public for the first time.
Yeah.
Somebody need to turn that TV down.
Amen. Night.
Okay, and then tomorrow, of course, we're creating that card for George's family. We're going to do that as a group. And then in the afternoon, we've got module 3. And then that's it for the weekend. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
So I'm going to rush off now because I want to be back to make sure that movie is up and running.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Get your popcorn.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Later.
Thank
Okay,
you.
yeah, get your popcorn. Everybody get your popcorn for later.
They got get a popcorn.
I'm ready. I
Okay.
got my snack chip.
Thank you.
And I'll see you all in a few, what is it? Maybe about 3 hours or so?
3 hours.
Okay.
Later.
Later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.